Hello,
Um,
welcome back. It's been a little bit of a while. It's been about a month since we've done one of these streams, which
hmm
is on schedule for us. So
Yeah,
go team.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's been 6 months since I've been on front of the camera for one of these.
Probably for an interview. I think, did you do the August one maybe? Because we had Christian
Ooh.
and Phil, so it was like fluid
Yes. Yeah,
dynamicists.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
nearly 6 months.
yeah, nearly. But then we did the like a family stream where it was just us guys chatting. That was in October, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
You haven't been AWOL for like
Yeah.
extraordinary amounts of
No,
time.
I've been
Yeah,
let loose on my own at the
yeah.
very least. But now we're back. I'm on the main
Yes.
episode. It's very exciting. I've been upgraded again to main host. It's all good. They've been keeping me locked in a cupboard. It's
I
not
was
good.
gonna say you make it sound like we demoted you because of like bad behavior.
Demoted
Because
me because of too much to do. It's fine. But yeah, we're back for another Meet the People, and we are delighted today to be joined by Caroline, who's just staring at us like, what are they doing? But welcome on.
yeah, thank you for coming.
More than welcome. Before we get started, can we just have a moment of appreciation for the outfit? Because I am in love, and if you've seen some of the stuff I do, I also have this pattern. It's gorgeous, and I appreciate it so much. It's
Like I
very
said, you're
good.
making me want to buy some now. And then you guys bought it like independently, and
Mhm.
I'm like, but now if I do it,
Mm.
like, can't we'd
I
have
did
to
buy
have.
this in the summer in preparation for starting at
There
SAMBa. I
you
was
go
like, I
then.
think
Yeah.
I need a
Okay.
master.
It's always good to have like a few very key. These are I'm gonna go talk about Matt's outfits, like just in the back of the wardrobe. Like it keeps you going. You're like you don't have to think about it. It's there. This is the presentation. Up until the point of having that pattern, it was the like bright green suit.
I mean, mine is my bright pink suit, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I don't know what it is. There's something that's some like strong desire about like, I am a woman in STEM and I'm going to be like, I'm just, yeah. It's like, I'm going to be pink and in your face. So you're going to be even more aware of the fact that I'm standing out.
Exactly. But yeah, welcome to the channel. Hello, chat as well. We're just gonna be chatting. We got some good. Uh, yeah, love this. This is my vibe pre-advice. It's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you say that you started SAMBa.
Yeah.
Welcome in. How's it going?
It's all right so far. Yeah,
hmm
it's very busy. A lot to do.
Yes.
Fast realizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
I sort of knew I'd have a lot to do. But I think I was just quite happily like bumbling along, and then it's like, oh, they're actually going to assess me on stuff this year. So
yeah,
deadlines.
I mean,
yeah,
the whole point of SAMBA is that it's a little bit more relaxed. Like the rule is that you only have to get
Yeah,
60% at the end of the year. So I think which is different to what we probably experience for like an undergraduate masters, where
yeah,
you're putting the pressure on yourself
Mhm.
to do really well. Because I guess the idea is that you're meant to engage and go to seminars and that
yeah.
sort of thing. And yeah,
Yeah.
So,
So pretend, for example, that you're someone that's just jumped into our chat for the first time. In your own words, what is SAMBA? What are you doing?
so SAM's a Centre for Doctoral Training, so it's a sort of PhD program, but rather than kind of jumping straight in with a supervisor and a project, so applying for a specific project with a
so.
specific supervisor, you sort of get to spend the first year doing a master's. I mean, another master's for me because I have done one already, but, a master's and just kind of exploring different areas of maths and maybe trying to come up to speed on some areas that you don't necessarily know as much
hmm
about, like
hmm
statistics for me. And then the other thing that's what makes SAMR a bit different, I think, particularly from other, because I did look at a few different CDTs, and there's quite a lot of engagement with industry, and run these lots of workshops. Well, I think twice yearly. The
Yes, yeah.
ITTs, which I think have been covered on the stream before, but like the
Yeah.
interactive think tanks with different industrial partners. So there's quite a lot of engaging
Yes, you can
with
come
them.
back, Karen. You're already like down with the acronyms. You're like spelling it out. Like, but no, is the ITTs, are they something that attracted you to Samba because of the industry?
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much so. Because I think, yeah, I'm very much an applied mathematician. I think we'll
hmm
come on to this, but I'm very much an applied mathematician. And I think
hmm
actually having those people coming in and bringing their real world problems and going, oh, help me do math on this was,
Yeah, yeah.
and sort of having those kind of side things going on as well as obviously. I focused very much on the first year, but after the first year of SAMBA, you end up then doing a project with a supervisor. It's a bit more standard PhD,
Yes,
but you
yeah,
have all these extra activities going on, which
yeah.
yeah, I like variety.
Okay,
That
that's
was
good.
that
Yeah,
was it.
yeah. So you came to the ITT last summer, didn't you?
I
Before
did.
you'd even officially started. So how did you find that as an experience? Was that a little bit more relaxed? Like, do you feel better
I
going into your first ITT, knowing what to expect, or?
think so. I was a little bit overwhelmed in the summer.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
it was a lot, and it was so hot. and I just got a bit of a headache, and it was all like, there's so much going on. But
Yeah.
I think knowing the format and kind of understanding how it's all going to work and what happens on the different days, and kind of
like you're
yeah,
one step
I think
ahead of your
that'll
peers
definitely
in a
help
sense. Yeah.
this time around, where it is, because it's first year, it's assessed.
Yeah.
So I need to
And if
remember that.
the viewers at home want to know more about an ITT, there's a lovely video on our YouTube channel that they can go check out from 2 years ago.
Yes.
Which I have watched. When I was like, I had a couple of different PhD offers, and I was deciding which one to go for, and I was like, I think I want to go for SAMBa. I think I like the sound of these ITTs, and I watched that.
It's the video. Yeah.
I was like, I need to make a decision. I was watching it.
Okay. I'm very glad. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I recommend it. It's a good video.
itself. We've got 40 minutes to kill. Go check that out. Yeah, excellent. Sorry, I was trying to get Seb to do something, but he already did it because he's a great mod, like you said. The stream did not refresh, so I can still see it, but it's it's all good. Okay, so let's like jump right back. Oh god, I'm getting stuck. Right back to the beginning of your sort of academic career. So how obviously now you're at SAMBa, which still got a lot of freedom to kind of figure out where you're going next. But kind of how sort of early along down the line did you know that kind of STEM and maths was your main direction? Was this like a small child playing with science experiments, or was this sort of something you found as you went along?
Do you really? I think I always very much liked maths and science and maths, I guess. So I guess when I was quite a young child, I mean, maths was my favourite subject at primary school because I didn't like writing. I didn't have to write much for maths.
Yeah.
But I did. My parents bought me quite a lot of like science kits and like science experiment books and things like this. So I definitely had an interest in science and and I did also like maths, and I did all the extracurricular maths stuff, particularly secondary school, like UKMT maths challenges and all this sort of thing. But I think I would say up until kind of A level, I wasn't really sure about what direction I wanted to go in. I think I don't know, it's not really a way of saying this, it doesn't sound like I'm being arrogant, but I don't know, I did pretty well sort of GCSE kind of across the board, so it wasn't clear like this is my thing. It was quite...
It wasn't, like your decision wasn't made easy by the fact that you did really well in like a small set of subjects. Yeah,
so it's kind of a bit, I really struggled with choosing A levels. I think I didn't want to narrow my options down. I had this real fear of like, oh, what if I just choose like science subjects and then I realise I don't want to do sciences, and then what do I do then? But I think eventually I did kind of decide that I sort of maths was, I definitely knew I wanted to carry on with maths. So I guess maths was just always something that was like my thing. I was doing all these extracurriculars. It was kind of, I enjoyed that. I was good at it. It was like, well, I'm obviously going to do maths. And I did also know I wanted to do chemistry, and then German. A bit random. Because I really enjoyed it, and I didn't want to just end up. I was like, oh, I don't want to be like a monolingual English person. I should try and do another language. But but then I'm rambling. Sorry,
you are more than welcome to ramble. Have you seen us on stream? Rambling is more than welcome.
What you saw in the ITT video, it's like the unabridged, there was an abridged version rather. The unabridged version was like 8 hours long. I
kind of struggled a lot with choosing A levels, but in the end I decided to do go down the science route. So I did physics as well. Just because it all sort of seemed to hang together, and
they're quite common pairing.
So I guess I was doing kind of maths, chemistry, physics, German. Did quite a few A levels. It was kind of and then I suppose I sort of so really struggled with picking A levels. Had this real sense I was cutting myself off from things, and maybe I've made a terrible decision. And what if I wanted to do like I don't know what I would have done history like the rest of my family? But all my family have history degrees. So I struggled quite a lot with that, and then kind of actually when it came to trying to work out what I wanted to do at university, it was like even worse because like I don't want to just do one subject. What am I going to do? And I think as well. I had this idea that maths at university maths probably was my favourite subject. It was like the one that had kind of always been there, and I was like, I knew I was definitely like good at and stuff. That was less of a. I think I knew I was good at maths, whereas like some of the others, it was a bit like maybe I'm just good at like the way they assess this and stuff. Like I think for sciences, it was like I didn't like writing essays. So the fact that you didn't write essays in science exams at school, I was like, maybe this is what this feels like.
Like when the longest answer question is like 6 marks, and I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah. Also, not to be that person, but I have bad news about a thesis.
Oh my god. The further you go with maths, the more writing involves. I'm like, primary school me would be horrified. But yeah, so but I had this idea that maths at university was super pure and abstract,
Mm.
and that it would be beyond me, and that I wasn't like genius enough to do maths. I think I thought you had to be like kind of genius level,
Mm.
like really.
There is that
Yeah.
perception.
Like, and I was just
stereotype.
like, it's like I'm good at it, but I don't think I'm not going to come up with amazing new maths or anything like this. I don't know why I thought I was going to come up with amazing new maths at undergrad, but anyway, this was a concern I had. And I think I had this idea that science, if you wanted to do applied maths, I didn't really know that applied maths was a thing.
Yeah.
But I think I thought if you want to use equations to model real world systems and everything like this, that's science, that's physics, that's
Yeah.
aspects of chemistry-ish, like physics.
Mm.
Yeah. So then kind of with this idea that I didn't want to pick one subject just yet, and I wasn't ready to do that, I thought, right, I'll apply for natural sciences courses
Okay.
at various universities. So because quite a lot of universities do offer that type of course.
Yeah. So natural science. I mean,
I don't think
not
I
seen
was
it.
going to say
What
like I
sort
don't
of
think I'm
spread of
familiar.
stuff is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it does vary quite a lot from university to university, which I think I maybe wasn't. I don't think sixth form me did enough research into like undergraduate courses. I think the idea of having to decide was really stressing me out, and just all of it was just a lot, and so I think I kind of didn't really pay enough attention to some things that I should have paid attention to. But I think the idea is you sort of, I mean, all of the universities that offer natural sciences, I think Bath does, or certainly did when I was somewhere.
Yes, I think they might have been absorbed into another uni. No, not a uni department right now, but we definitely had one at least 2 years ago.
Yeah, so I think the idea is you sort of start broad and you do a number of science subjects in your first year, and then the idea with most places you kind of narrow that down, and then sort of end up just doing, I guess, one or two subjects.
Okay. So you do still sort of specialise, but after a...
Well, idea.
Okay.
Go entirely to plan. But I think that's kind of what but I think maybe some universities are better than others with letting you stay broad. But yeah, we'll come to yeah, so I think that anyway, so I ended up applying for these kind of natural sciences courses because I didn't want to make a decision based. I was like, I'll put the decision off a bit further. Like, and I'm sort of quite enjoying all my A-level subjects, and might as well carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my German teacher said, don't do a German degree, do a science degree and carry on German as a hobby. So I was like,
yeah.
I think she just thought you've got more career options with STEM. So she's like, you don't need to do the German. Like, you can still speak German and also have
yeah. How is your German?
Rusty at the moment. Really rusty. I'm going to Germany like in the Christmas holidays. Go to Christmas markets. I'm like, am I going to be able to remember?
So you can, foods, hello, goodbye, please. Where's the toilet? Do you speak English? I feel like we'll get you.
I think I can probably
base
manage
level.
Well, but I really need to try and keep on with that bit.
Yeah, I wish that was something that I do wish I had. Like again, learned language up to GCSE, but to just take it that one step further and then keeping on top of it is like the hardest thing. Yeah,
yeah. I think I peaked at A level with German because I was doing it like we had like 9 lessons a fortnight and then like homework in between. So it's like my vocabulary was so good then. I could talk about global warming, family, different types of family, and now it's just like I don't talk about this.
Maybe get yourself a like Duolingo and like.
No, I tried, but it's I think because I can speak.
You're like
hard to revise from.
It's good for building up vocabulary. It's actually awful for like conversational language.
Yes.
I think that's why you need sort of interactions with people to really kind of keep going. Because I'm the same as like I dropped everything up to GCSE, so Welsh and French to GCSE, and now I'm trying to get the Welsh back, and it's like nope. I can talk about Owen and his parsnips. Welsh Duolingo, honestly, Owen and his parsnips all of the time.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but
the Duolingo was kind of this oddly dark phrase.
Yeah.
It's just like
okay.
We're gonna need to say that if I go on holiday to Italy, but
we
shouldn't say that.
Right. I was shown something yesterday of like you can buy the Duolingo plushies. So you can buy the owl as a plushie toy, but again, it came with like a note in it saying something about like thanks for buying my plushie. Like now we can, and then it said, but something about like if you forget to do Duolingo, then don't remember that now I know where you live.
Yeah, that does track.
Yeah. Sits with the vibe.
Yeah, but
sorry, jumping straight back in.
So applying for different natural science courses. So I ended up going to Cambridge. for better or worse. I think it was a bit of a, I wasn't really sure whether I wanted to go, but I think I'd had the grades and it sort of seemed like I should apply, and then they made me an offer and it was like, oh,
it feels like an
can I do
opportunity that you
this?
can't. Yeah.
Because I think coming back to what I was saying about different degrees of flexibility within natural sciences courses, I'd say the Cambridge one is probably a little bit less flexible than other places. So it was kind of, and I think that was maybe with hindsight, I would have benefited from a bit more flexibility. But yeah,
fair enough. So what did you end up you said you kind of specialised in sort of two sort of main areas. I'm assuming maths was one of them?
Well, no, this is really
okay.
So basically the idea was you were supposed to sort of start off in your first year, you did maths and 3 sciences, and then you would cut down probably to like 2 subjects in your second year, and then you just do 1 subject for third, and then if you stayed for a 4th year. What it was possible to not do that and just do a bit more of a mixture, which is what I ended up doing. It wasn't possible to specialise in maths. So my first year I did 3 sciences. I did chemistry, physics, earth sciences, and I did a maths course, which was, I guess, more of a sort of maths for physicists course, really. So yeah, quite heavy on the differential equations and things like this, and very light on stats or anything like that. But so I did that, and then sort of got to the end of the first year, and they're like, right, so what are you going to think you're going to specialise in? What do you want to do in second year? And it's like, maths. And then there's like, well, yes, you can do a maths course in second year, but what is going to be your like main focus now? And that was when it was fun. It was a bit. I think I did realise by the end of that first year that maths was the thing I liked best. I think I was still not fully aware that applied maths was this whole area.
I don't know. They've changed the A-level syllabus now, I think, from when we were all sitting here. But A-levels for me was very modular. And it was like we either had what was called pure.
Which is not very pure.
Not very pure. But then that was like your kind of calculus and geometry and all that sort of thing was mixed together. And then we had statistics and mechanics as like 2 separate other things. So it's like we don't get given... I feel like you don't get a natural idea of like where different parts of maths sit and how they
and it's a very interesting thing when you start looking at how other countries do it. So different places obviously have quite different, but this sort of like applied maths existing is quite a British thing, and it's definitely changing perspective. If you went to the US, for example, the sort of view of maths is very sort of pure, and it's the analysis and it's the algebra and the geometry and that side of things. And more often than not, the way we consider applied maths would be maybe in a physics department or an engineering department.
Which I guess is what I did think when I was younger.
So it is that sort of quite, I would say, relatively new-ish field of like applied maths existing as a concept, which is why a lot of people think I'm a physicist when I'm not. But is that perception of like, well, if it's got a physical application, then it exists in a physical math IO.
Yeah, like I mean, I think I definitely remember going through a phase in A-levels where I was like, well, maybe maths is not what I want to study or what I want to be. And I think I was looking at like engineering apprenticeships and like things that were like going to be a little bit more applied and kind of like physical and hands-on, because I thought that was something that was going to be better for me. And so I guess
I did find actually when I was tidying up at my parents' once, I found like my personal statement from UCAS when I was applying to undergrad, and I read it and it was incredibly cringy. Love letter to maths, and I was applying for science degrees. The whole thing was how I loved using maths in different areas and seeing how you could like and also I was in the UKMT maths chapter, and it was just a bit like, why did I apply for science degrees? Why did none of the teachers that read this question this?
That's funny because I think I've still got access to mine somewhere, and what amuses me all the time, and again maybe highlights that we don't understand the difference between pure and applied and maths in general, because I'd written in my personal statement that I love pure maths, and I'm like, Beth, what were you thinking? I'm like, you didn't know what pure maths was, and
it's just interesting because I don't feel like I had a proper perception of what a maths degree would really look like.
I think it's a difficult thing where like you think about sort of how we teach maths versus how we do like outreach with maths. So a lot of the like fun videos, or if you go to see talks and stuff, and actually pure maths sneaks its way into those sorts of things a lot more. So you see the cool combinatorics or number theory or like maths tricks and puzzles, and those are all like quite pure as like the what's going on behind the scenes. So it's easy to be lured in by this sort of like, oh, it's really like topology is shapes, and it's like, it's not. It's just a lot of groups, and you write down you don't get to play with any donuts at all. It's very sad.
You can have fun conversations about how many holes are in a pair of trousers, though.
I feel like, yeah, that needs to be a
Yeah, there's maybe one for another behind the research stream. We can update you guys.
Did you take pictures of the table? Like,
We didn't. I think
Oh,
you did.
okay,
Seb
Seb
did.
did.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I suppose those kind of more accessible level demonstrations where you don't show too much of the scary actual equations and symbols for applied maths does kind of look very similar to physics. It's like
Yes.
Yeah.
the distinction is not very. I mean,
Yeah.
also there is definitely overlap between applied maths and
Oh, yeah, for
physics
sure.
and engineering and bits of chemistry. So I guess
Yeah, but it's easy. I mean, even personally, like going and speaking about fluid dynamics, and it's at a physics thing because when you're just showing the sort of broad arching overview,
Mhm.
it is so applicable to everything. Like I know someone that was speaking at a physics event that's giving the exact same talk at a computer science event because it's quantum computing.
Yeah.
And they could probably go do the same thing with maths and be like, well, you can go learn the equations for all this stuff. And so I don't think you're alone or at fault for not fully appreciating what applied maths is. And I think, depending on who you talk to, where they put themselves on the spectrum of mathematics is gonna change a lot. Okay, so you've kind of finished up
so
after fighting with your BA about what you were doing.
Yeah, so I think it's a shame that it wasn't possible to specialise in maths. I certainly did a bit of looking at the other courses I'd applied to other universities, and it would have been possible. It's like, something I hadn't really considered when I was applying. But yeah, so I ended up doing just a bit of a mixture of science subjects because I couldn't really make my mind up. Like it was like, well, I'll just keep it broad, like look at different areas. So I did like a bit more physics, quite a lot more chemistry, particularly like theoretical physical chemistry. There's a lot of maths in that.
I like physical chemistry. Yeah, that was my favourite.
Like organic carbon stuff.
No,
physical chemistry is like
quantum. There is quite it's a quantum stuff. But, I did a
Mm.
course on statistical mechanics, which I really enjoyed, which I think is normally taught in physics, but I did it as a chemistry course, which is very enjoyable.
You do all of the reaction rate equations,
enzyme kinetics, that kind of thing. So it's very mathematical.
Yeah.
I carried on with that. Did some maths or chemists courses. I also did quite a bit more like earth sciences. Looking at rocks. Went on a
Rocks are cool.
trip to Cornwall. So
Nice.
it was all right, but it was a bit of a mishmash. And I kind of ended up graduating feeling like I don't have a degree in anything in particular. It's like I've done quite a lot of slightly random courses that don't necessarily fit together quite as well as they could, but
in many ways that can be a bonus and it can benefit you because you've come out of it as like a well-rounded sort of with a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas. And I guess that's like you say, your worry going in and picking one subject as a university course is like, but I've only then got knowledge on this one thing.
I think I worry I maybe didn't quite get the depth, or maybe like my understanding didn't sort of develop as well as it could because I did keep jumping around a bit. So that was maybe a downside of that kind of approach. And I think the other downside was I came out with this sort of degree where I had actually ended up doing quite a lot of maths here, there, and everywhere. Because also, like the chemistry courses I did were quite intensely mathematical, and I had done quite a lot of these. Anywhere I could do maths, I had. But it didn't say maths. On the tin. So I think then when I was looking to apply for jobs, well, actually I didn't apply for jobs straight away. I went and worked as an English assistant in a school in Germany, but because I also wanted to do a year abroad during my degree, but that wasn't possible. So
that means that you managed to keep your German hobby going.
That's that.
It was a bit intimidating because I was working in a school and German children speak very, very good English.
Was it primary school?
It was secondary school.
Okay.
I was mostly working with the younger years, but you had like the youngest children in the school would be like 9, 10 years old, and they could already just come up with spontaneous English, like make up little plays and things. And I was just thinking, do you need me? It was an interesting experience. I guess like experiencing a different culture and living abroad. I mean, Germany's not that different to Britain, but it's kind of and it was good for my sort of everyday German. Like, what do you say in a supermarket? Like, because like actually things like what do you say to greet a cashier? That doesn't necessarily come up in like lessons at school.
Asking where the library is in La Rochelle is not necessary for life, it turns out. But
it's quite good. I don't think my spoken German improved as much as it could have done because my understanding improved a lot. I guess, but I think spontaneous, like sort of actually responding to people was harder. But
I think it's so hard as well when again any other European country that you go to does speak such good English.
It's quite a good experience and quite good for a bit of trying to work out what I was going to do next because I really wasn't sure.
Mhm.
I mean, it sort of bought me a bit more time, I think, because most of my friends had stayed to do full, like, integrated masters, or actually done, like, separate masters in history, whatever. But because they were staying to do that, I was like, I need something to do next year, because, like, I'm not going to, because I haven't specialised in one subject, I can't stay for a master's, so I need something. My friend's she'd been an English assistant as part of her German degree. So
Okay, so you knew it was possible, and
so she said, "Why don't you do this next year?" And I thought, "Well, I haven't studied German. Can I do that?" She was like, "Yeah, you just need A levels." Okay. So I did that. It was quite nice, but
Yeah.
So then after that, when you did sort of venture into the world of work,
yeah. So I kind of decided that whilst I quite liked being in Germany, probably staying there long term would be tricky. I felt a bit isolated because, like, all my friends were still back in Britain, and it was a bit. So I started looking for jobs, and I think, well, actually, no, I thought about a few different things. So I did actually start thinking about doing a master's then. I think having graduated from my undergrad, I was like, right, I'm never doing another exam again. That's it. I'm done with education, no more. And then after a few months, I was like back looking at masters, and I wasn't quite sure, because obviously we've had this slight mishmash. Like, I wasn't sure where I was going to go with that. So I did start thinking about maths masters then. Like, I realised this was like I did actually start thinking. I was looking up master's courses, and I was looking up, like, mathematical modelling courses even then, but I was also looking at things like theoretical chemistry, so I was still kind of I want to do something that's quite mathematical, but I don't quite know what is possible. But I sort of explored that, but I ended up, like, I saw an advert for a job at CGP Books. I don't know whether you.
So those are the revision guides,
Yeah,
right?
the
Like
little man with the cartoon.
Yes.
Sunglasses.
I love those.
Yes.
They had a job advert, and I still find most job adverts quite intimidating. There's a lot of jargon and a lot of wanting you to be this dynamic, go-getting person with all these skills.
Yeah.
And this one was the one for the job of editor. So, like, well, they called it editor. It was more like content creator, wasn't it? But at CGP Books, it was actually written in plain English, and it was like, "Do you want to move to the Lake District and make school books?" It's like, you need good A-level results and a degree.
I'm gonna go do that.
But yeah, so when I thought, oh, I'll apply for it, because I actually understand the job advert, and I think I can write a decent application, and I'll see how it goes. And then I was looking for the job, so I was like,
and actually, like, I think at that point in time, for me, your background seems like it was kind of perfect. Like, I used them for my science revision guides.
Yeah,
So the fact that you've got such a broad background, it was,
So what sort of, were you, like, across the spectrum of the books creating stuff, or were you like, can we see your work anywhere?
Oh, you probably could. I could. I've got a box at home that's got all the books I worked in with my name in the front. It's very exciting.
Oh, that's really
So I worked on a bit of a range of, like, I did stuff with A-level chemistry, did quite a few, like, GCSE science. I did some GCSE German. That was fun.
nice.
And then quite a bit, like, primary school. I asked if I could move on to maths books. I ended up doing quite a lot of primary school maths, and I actually tried to come up with new fraction questions that aren't too hard for 9-year-olds. It's actually quite new, and they're like, "Oh, you can't use a question that's been in a previous book."
Yeah.
So basically it's kind of writing questions for workbooks and things like this, which I think I've certainly found work on the A-level books a bit more stimulating, because you needed to actually use, like, stuff you'd learned in your degree to go away and look things up. But
yeah,
it's really interesting.
But that's right. I think it started to get a little bit repetitive after a while. So I was kind of, I'm not sure I was ever viewing it as a particularly long-term thing, but it's I liked, like, it was very nice looking. Not quite in the Lake District, on the edge. And it was like a nice, like, the work environment was really nice. My colleagues were great, so but it was kind of, I did start to feel like it wasn't using the skills I'd really learnt in my degree very much. It was like occasionally the content would come up, but a lot of the time it was sort of like I didn't need to do my degree to, like, come up with primary school maths questions or something. And yeah, I don't know. I think I was at that point starting to feel quite sad that I hadn't done a maths degree. I think I'd kind of realised by that point is that I really wish I'd done maths. Like, why didn't I do a maths degree? Like, this is why I'm in this job where I don't quite feel like I'm using my skills, because I don't feel brave enough to apply to the types of jobs that say you need a maths or a physics degree, because I don't have one of those. And so I sort of started looking into, right, well, how am I going to get a maths degree? Because obviously with the fees for undergrad degrees, it's like, right, well, doing a second undergraduate degree isn't an option. Like, I can't do that. I do not have a spare £27,000 plus living expenses.
Reasonable, completely reasonable.
At that point, it would have been like a second degree, so you would have had to, you would have been like,
So I think I might have tried to, but you really can't get a loan for
No.
a second undergraduate
Mhm.
degree. So I was like, right, well, that's not possible. But I have actually done a lot of maths in my undergrad. Surely I can do something with that. So I started looking in a bit more seriously into master's degrees for maths. But yeah, I was a bit not really sure whether I would know enough, and I sort of came across the Open University. So I had this idea that I should like maybe investigate what they offer, because obviously their whole thing is kind of different routes into education and
Yeah.
sort of for like alternate people who've not necessarily done the conventional path. So I had a look, and for their masters, in order to you sort of applied on their website and you had to do like a test, just an online test where you sort of went like had a to I guess test your ability. But so I had a look at like the practice sample and I had up, and I thought, okay, I'm going to need to look some stuff up. But
Yeah.
like I have come across everything on this before, so it's not like clearly I do have approximately the right level of background knowledge. So I did their like online testing. I mean, I did have a look a bit of stuff up, but kind of I assumed that was okay because it was an open online test. So I was like, if they don't want you to look stuff up, they need to get you to go somewhere and do it more formally. So I did that, sort of got accepted onto their kind of introductory master's applied maths module.
Oh, cool.
Calculus and calculus variations.
Very nice.
So was then doing that kind of, so it's the Open University, so it's distance, part-time learning. So it lasted for a year, that module, and I was just doing it in spare time. Sorry. So like evenings and weekends. Kind of so doing that, and it was I really enjoyed it. It was like very well, they sent you all this massive load of notes, and then you had like some online sessions with the lecturers kind of occasionally, and then you had to do assignments and they get marked by a tutor and you got some feedback, and it was all quite structured. It was like, right, this week you should read this section of the notes, you should do these exercises.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I was realising I was enjoying that a lot more than I was enjoying my job. So I'd be at work, I'd be like, oh, I'm really quite bored. Oh, I just want to go home. Oh, when's it? Very tired. Then I'd get home and do like 3 hours work. Oh, in the evening, it was like, there's an imbalance here.
Alarm bells.
Yeah, you shouldn't be looking forward to the homework.
Yeah, so yeah, that was good. Also, they had like sort of weekends where you went to Milton Keynes to the actual Open University, and there were loads of other people there, and had some actual in-person sessions.
Nice. Do you know how many sort of people were kind of doing that course alongside you then? Like what sort of cohort size?
It's a lot. I'm trying to think because I think these study weekends they had everyone who was doing any MSc module, any maths MSc module. So that was probably obviously that's people who have the time and I guess the resources to like travel to Milton Keynes and be there in person. So that's not necessarily representative. That was probably like a couple of hundred people.
Okay.
More? I don't know.
Nice. So just Milton Keynes population like doubles like, for a weekend and then kind of goes back.
I know. It so I really enjoyed that. I mean, yeah, it's not cheap to do the Open University. It's like, well, it is cheaper than going to a sort of bricks and mortar university, and obviously you pay in instalments, but it was quite a big investment. It was I'm doing this, but a lot cheaper than the second undergraduate.
Because I don't think I'd appreciated, obviously, I knew Open University was a little bit more flexible and it was remote learning, but I don't think I'd appreciated that you could just do a module. Yeah. And that was, you could kind of like dip in and do a module, and it wasn't, I thought I had assumed it was a whole degree course that you were committing to.
No, you can just sort of sign up for individual modules and then kind of work out what qualification you're going to put them towards later on, which is quite nice. But yeah, I do this point. So when I was most of the way through this first OU module, I did actually apply for a master's at Bath in maths. I was not successful. I think
it's their loss.
But yeah, it was kind of, I realised it was quite a useful experience because I just decided, I was like, I'm really worried about my background. I don't think I'm doing the OU module was going really well. I was enjoying it. I was doing well in the assignments, but I was like, oh, I'm still worried I don't actually have enough of a background. So I decided to just ignore that in my application and pretend it was all fine. And that them saying that you needed a maths degree, I was like, nah,
skip that bit.
I don't know. That wasn't fun. But I learned from that because when I did subsequently apply to full-time master's courses, I made a point of contacting admissions tutors beforehand to say I don't have necessarily the background you're asking for. This is what I covered in my undergraduate degree. This is what I've done since. Does this sound okay? And I think that
I think that's it. Explaining that it's like you desperately, even through natural sciences undergrad, you basically sort out anything that you could with like some maths and
But but anyway, I wasn't successful that time. I was a bit disheartened. I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do now. But I did it. So I ended up doing another module with the Open University the following year, and then I applied to master's courses at Leeds and also Birmingham, where Beth was.
Yes.
So
Yes, I knew Caroline from masters, but you were always just like a face on a screen.
Yeah, because during
Because
COVID.
it was 2020, 2021 when we were doing. I was on the integrated masters, so it was my 4th year of my course, and you joined for the MSc. So we had some modules overlap.
Yeah,
I think
it's
maybe just
mathematical biology.
Yes,
I don't know whether there are any. You might have done some of the others already.
I ended up doing some of like the optimization modules and stuff because it was like, what have I got the prerequisites for? And
Yeah.
but no, so we were just like little faces on a screen. I don't think we ever actually met in person. No.
Okay. So I mean, if the masters was obviously then only 1 year.
Yeah. So I applied for master's courses, and then obviously COVID happened.
Yeah.
But I decided I was just going to be really optimistic about how quickly everything would get back to normal because I was really sick of my job by this point. It was just like, I've been doing this for too long. I'd basically just been doing the same thing for 3 years as well, whereas some other friends who started at the same time as me had kind of moved up into more senior positions and I hadn't really. So I was like, you know what, I think that I've had enough now. I do want to leave. It's risky because of all this pandemic thing, but I'll just do it. And then, it was possibly slightly too. I mean, I think kind of the circumstances around doing the masters with all the COVID disruption were not ideal. I did basically end up doing a masters online, and I ended up moving back in with my parents in Essex, despite doing the masters in Birmingham.
That was going to be my question. Did you actually ever go to Birmingham while you were?
I did. I moved there briefly, so for the start of the year, and then it sort of realised everything was pretty much everything was
September,
online.
October, we were kind of like back to normal. November was like a little bit half and half, and then by Christmas we were in lockdown again.
Yeah, well, I think there was a lockdown started in November. I think that's when I went back to my parents. Right. I was in this new city. I didn't know anyone. I'd moved into a house share, but that was, with like people I didn't really know, and it just didn't feel very comfortable. So I sort of started the masters like, I'm finally doing my masters. Yeah, it's great. And then sort of just also kind of like, but everything's kind of falling apart. So I ended up back with my parents, which was, given I've been living away for a number of years at that point, it wasn't necessarily ideal, but it was like, it's a nice I know these people.
I don't have to try too hard to socialise with them. Like,
and it's also like we're kind of roughly on the same page with how we feel about protocols and things like this. So it's kind of, so I ended up doing a master's from my childhood bedroom via Zoom. But it was. I really enjoyed the course though, and I'm kind of glad I had that. I mean, it did make it really easy to focus on the course I found. The fact that
you didn't have anything else to do,
or see friends, or really do anything. So it was kind of.
You said you wanted to do a master's. You're doing a master's. So
I did feel sort of quite thankful that I had done like my undergrad and all the kind of, I guess, that kind of university experience side of things.
You still had that, didn't you?
Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like I found the academic side of Cambridge a bit tricky, but like the sort of social side, I was quite happy with. So I was like, at least I've kind of done that. I think I was more because I was coming back to it. I was like, no, I just really want a maths degree. It was a bit easier to just kind of focus, I guess, on getting the maths degree. But but no, so I really enjoyed my masters. It was actually, this is how I like spending my days doing this. I like spending my days doing maths, but that was, I think, the first time I actually ever really thought about PhD, because like actually lecturers started saying, "Oh, have you thought about PhD?" And it was like, no. It was like, I'm here because I want a maths degree, and I think I'll be able to get a job that is a bit more actually doing maths day to day, whereas my previous job was kind of tangentially related, but it was sort of using some of the knowledge but not really the skills from So it's like, no, I want to be actually using these skills, like so that was kind of, I hadn't thought about a PhD, but then I kept having different lecturers saying stuff, and it's sort of like,
I think that the lecturers at Birmingham I found were always very good at that. Like if they saw something in someone, they would sort of say, have you thought about doing a PhD? Or if you were only on the BSc, it'd be, have you thought about doing the Masters? They were very good at kind of just prodding. But remind me, so your Masters project, what was that on and who was that with?
So I was mathematically modelling the fluid dynamics of chocolate. So specifically like the kind of curtain coating process. So when you see videos of like factories where you're getting like chocolate biscuits and things. Or like,
I'm picturing the Twix ad right now.
Yeah,
when they pass through this curtain of chocolate and then they get so I was
and like the ripples that form, or
I didn't really get
okay.
They're just trying to model the actual curtain of chocolate. So that was with Rosemary Dyson.
Yes,
that's it, Rosemary Dyson. So she'd done some work, I think, on curtain coating in paper and like photographic film processing.
Mhm.
Like that's Newtonian fluids they use, whereas this molten chocolate is non-Newtonian.
What does that
So
mean
it's-
for our
yeah. So a Newtonian fluid has got a constant viscosity, so it's always going to kind of flow. No, mine's going down there. Constant viscosity, so kind of how runny or how like thick it is doesn't change.
Yeah.
No matter what you do to the fluid. Whereas a non-Newtonian fluid, the viscosity changes depending on like how fast it's flowing and other forces are being applied to it and things like that. So chocolate is shear thinning, so the faster it flows, the runnier it seems. Yeah.
Yes.
You're all good.
I can get on board with this based on purely my knowledge of chocolate fountains. Yes, I agree.
There's
Yeah.
a paper about chocolate fountains that I read many times while I was
Yeah.
Is that
It's Adam Townsend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that. That was a good project. Yeah.
Did you get to model any experiments with chocolate?
Well, this is been COVID times.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Rosemary has
Just
said,
at
"Oh,
home.
we might get to visit Cadbury," and then obviously I could.
Oh, just Cadbury World's
in
just down the
Birmingham,
road.
but yeah,
It's only round the corner.
it's all the same train
Your
tracks.
accent came out so strong.
It genuinely is only round the corner from the university, though. The head of whoever was the head of the Cadbury family used to be the Chancellor of Birmingham traditionally.
Okay.
Mr. Cadbury was always the Chancellor of Birmingham for like many, many years, and then it's obviously passed over to other people. Yeah. Not the Vice Chancellor, just like the Chancellor. Like the kind of the ceremonial figurehead.
Oh,
They were
okay.
just the Chancellor.
Yeah, I've just realised Vice Chancellor being the head of the uni is weird because that's Vice. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
Vice Chancellor is the one that actually like they
do stuff.
They
in theory.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
very
yeah,
cool.
that was the project I did, which it was quite cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The slight problem is there's lots of different non-Newtonian fluid models and other like the literature can't agree on what chocolate actually is. So I just ended up comparing a few and just looking at that.
Yeah, I mean when you only have 1 year
Doing
for
bits as well. The project was only the summer, so it was only 3 months.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
couldn't quite get MATLAB to do what I wanted for it either.
That's not a time limited thing.
Yeah. I sort of had various lecturers sort of suggesting, "Oh, have you thought about PhDs?" But I think I certainly. I mean, I think I started suggesting it quite early, but obviously it was like, well, I've only just started my masters. Why would I be thinking about PhD? And then it was kind of, well, maybe, but I kind of it's a bit late. Like I've missed the application deadlines for
Yeah.
because I think I had sort of looked in the past at CDTs back when I was like, oh, I just don't have enough. My previous qualifications aren't good enough. I couldn't possibly. So I think I had this idea they might be interesting because I don't want to be applying for a PhD in a rush.
Yeah.
Like just to a random project, and also I thought, well, I need to do the summer project to find out whether I actually like research.
Yeah, I mean, for context, like we obviously started masters at the same point, but my project was year long.
So.
And like so, I'd lecturers had sort of set the idea in motion for me in like third year. So by the November of our master's year, I'd already applied to SAMBa and interviewed. So it was kind of like, you're right. Like you would kind of want to wait a bit when you've only just gone back into maths. Yeah, to kind of let it settle. And
particularly my undergrad dissertation, because I ended up doing a bit of a mixture of subjects. I mean, I think what I effectively did was a bit of a literature review about, and I did it. It was nominally on chemistry, but I just basically wrote about archaeological science because I decided that's what I wanted to write about.
So cool.
But it was interesting, but it was it's got nothing to do with maths. I didn't do any maths whatsoever. I guess so.
Yeah.
Kind of like
young Caroline would be like screaming at.
But it's like, I think had I even done like a sort of chemistry research project or something in my undergrad, it would give me more of an idea whether that was something I wanted to do. But at the same time, I've literally never done any research. I've done like literature review stuff, but not any actual trying to do something new. So
yeah, it's a big decision to make very quickly on. And actually, one of the feelings that I think of the kind of UK-ish structure is the fact that we have 1 year masters, because if you are going straight in or you want to go straight in, you have to make that decision so quickly, whereas a lot of European and other places will do a 2 years, so you get into it. But that seems so where did you end up going then after the
so it's kind of, I mean, I'm still living with my parents when I finish the masters. I'm right, I need to get a job, I need to move out again. So I sort of thought about PhDs, but it's like, I don't know, like I'll go and get a job, see how I get on, because I thought it's a big commitment. Do I want to commit to like 3 more years of like education, I guess, if actually I could with my masters go away and get a job that I would find like fulfilling and that would be letting me do as much maths as I actually wanted to do in my job, which I hadn't found previously. So I applied for a few different things. But I ended up accepting a position with the Department for Education as like an analyst. So I had a few friends who'd gone into the civil service and really liked it, and it's something I had been thinking about for a while as a kind of, oh, it's like public services, but it's not like frontline.
Yeah, it's like teaching adjacent jobs.
Like, and my
theme.
teachers.
Okay.
So, but I'm very clear that I should not become a teacher. So adjacent thing. But yeah, so I went there, but I think. I mean, Rosemary had actually said when I said that was what I was going to do after my master's, and I was like, oh, I hope there'll be enough maths. And she was like, yes, good luck with that. Quite like that, but words to that effect.
Yes.
So I was like, yeah, I think I very quickly realised that there was not a lot of complicated maths involved in being a civil service analyst. It was a lot of spreadsheets and just sort of dealing with not great data and but doing fairly basic calculations and kind of. It wasn't really what I wanted to do.
Not the glamorous modelling that you'd got accustomed to.
I got to do some regression once, and that was just Excel. Oh, actually, no, I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know. So, like, learning art was good. It wasn't like a sort of completely terrible experience, and I think it did teach me a lot about real world data, which having started the group project for the now, I'm like, oh yeah, real world data again. It's not good. So I think it wasn't a completely terrible experience, but it was a kind of. This isn't, and like there's just a lot of faffing around. I also didn't, without wanting to get into politics, I didn't love working for the government. So kind of it sort of didn't feel like a good fit. And then it was like, actually at this point I mentioned I signed up when I was doing my masters for the Pyscopia mailing list, the sort of initiative to encourage more women and non-binary people.
If you go watch our September vlog, we chatted with the two.
Yes. Yeah, Rosie and Victoria.
That mathematical biology.
Yeah, Rosie was listening.
So she said you should sign up for this.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, so I think kind of I hadn't actually watched any of their seminars and stuff while I was doing my masters, but then I started watching them. I think there was one that sounded particularly interesting, and I think it might have been with Lisa Cloyce.
Yes, yeah.
But so I started watching them, and then I was watching them in my lunch breaks when I'd started working for DFE, and I was like. Just watching them be like, oh, I've made a mistake. This is what I want to be doing. This is the level of maths that I actually want. And it's like, I think that does mean doing a PhD, doesn't it? So, yes. So I think I decided within probably a few months of starting work again that I was going to go back to university again. So then it was just a case of waiting until the application cycles came around.
So did you go to any sort of events to help you decide to do? I'm shameless. Did you go to any sort of events that helped sway you in sort of different directions?
I did go to your PhD your way actually online. So I think I decided I wanted to do a PhD, and then it kind of the new academic year started like September, October. I was like, right, I need to start researching PhDs. I need to apply to somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I kind of hadn't really done much because I'd been busy, and it was like, and then I think it was November you did that event.
But I got where you found it.
The Pyscopia mailing.
They're so good to me.
Yeah. But anyway, I got sent that, and I think I've been sort of thinking I should take a day off work, because it's actually something I used to do when I was doing the OU modules, was I'd take the odd just day of annual leave to just work on assignments, or just have a day of focus, and I quite like that, and I thought, right, I'm going to just take a day off to do PhD, look at research PhD applications.
Yeah.
But I'll take the day that PhD your way is off, and then I could go to that, and also do some, and it was very good for kind of actually getting me kind of quite fired up, like, yeah, this is what we're doing.
I'm not paying you to say this. I want that known right now. She's allowed any opinion she wants about it, but that is really nice.
But it was useful, and there was the opportunity to talk to people at different universities and all the different reasons. I think that was where I first heard about SAMBa as well.
Probably.
Because actually, I think at that point I had already, there were other CDTs in because there's also Edinburgh and Warwick. I think the Warwick one I'd actually looked at when I was looking at masters, because I was wondering about doing just the masters year at that.
Oh, okay.
So I think I was aware of their one, and I'd come across the one at Edinburgh just searching maths PhDs. So I kind of looking into them, but I hadn't realised that there was another applied maths CDT, and then I was like, I saw the statistical. I wasn't quite sure because I don't know a lot of stats.
I did exactly the same thing. It's fine.
So so I guess that was when SAMBa sort of came on my radar, and I think I'd started thinking that I did want to be doing a CDT, because particularly because I've been out of things for a little bit again. It's like I haven't done any proper maths for about a year now, so I need to I'll need a bit of time to get back up to speed. I've still got quite a lot of gaps in my knowledge because I didn't do the maths undergrad, so it'd be good to try and plug a few more of those.
Yeah.
And also, I'm really bad at decisions, and I don't want to just commit to a project straight away.
It's a big thing to kind of go into, and I think if you're coming from such a broad range of stuff as CDT, you now have freedom and you can like relax a little bit and just pick and choose as you go along. But having bounced back and forth in and out of academia a lot, it sounds like this is something we've
but it's like
the kind of cohort approach is like I don't want to be feeling isolated. I think having other people who are going through the same thing to sort of share experience with. And I have had a few friends who've done PhDs and they've all said, the supervisor is like really paramount. I had a friend who sort of dropped out of their PhD as well because of supervisor issues, and it's kind of like so actually having the chance to meet supervisors and like learn how they work and who you think you'd get on with
and speak to like the older cohorts
like
if
you not to me
what
older
I mean it's kind of like us like it was a gesturing like I wasn't just like but again you ask to speak to their current or former PhD students and I think that's generally the rule of thumb is that we will give you the honest answer
so it's kind of
off camera but
so I sort of thought that would be quite then I applied to SAMBa and
here you are.
I did actually apply to the other two CDTs just kind of what I thought. Well, I got told you need to apply to loads of pictures.
It's good to apply to a lot of things.
So I was like, they'll take me back. Just trying to decide actually office and ITGs really swayed me. I think it was also realising that when I went to like kind of visit the other places, I was thinking about but how does this compare to but I was like, okay, I think I've made
if you do amazing. So I guess
I know I was just gonna say like after all your sort of again back and forth do you finally feel like you're sort of on the track that you're meant to be on?
So
okay.
I think nice. I do occasionally. I keep having the odd moment of I feel so old compared to but I don't think I'm. There are other people in SAMBa. I've also started PhDs.
I think it's more normal. It's more common than not. I think like in my cohort there was 11 of us and only 3 of us came into the PhD straight after undergrad.
So similar sort of stats, and I think there was someone in cohort 4 that's still the oldest joiner that we've had, and they were I'm not going to out their age. We'll talk about it later. So I guess like just quickly to kind of wrap things up because we have been chatting for a while. Looking forward then, any sort of ideas? Like you've still got so much time to decide on a PhD topic, but any sort of like things that's particularly getting your interest at the minute? Obviously the modelling is still very
so with some sort of mathematical modelling. I think almost like part of the application process though, and I guess also just introducing myself to people since I've started and stuff has kind of made me I think it's slightly solidified the areas I'm interested in. So I think probably this is gonna lower we planned it. I think probably either like fluid dynamics biology. 2 areas, or maybe something combining the two. But kind of keeping a bit of an open mind and kind of because there's lots of interesting
just so many things can like come up and catch you off guard like throughout the year and there's no need but I thought it would be nice for you to look back on this once you've settled on a project and be like I was so wrong. Or, we have people that come in that are like I'm gonna do stats and then they end up on some probability thing or like people jump around a lot. It's always lovely to
have been realising though I think since I started I was like there's so much more maths I don't know. Like, I was aware of some of the gaps, and then I'm just like, because I think I realised my masters it was called applied maths, but it was actually quite a mathematical modelling. I think the course had previously been called mathematical modelling, slightly adjusted it, but it was still quite.
But I think the thing that we forget as PhD students is that like you feel like you're meant to know everything, and it's like because the idea of getting a PhD is that like you become the expert on that thing, but then you kind of but like you kind of forget that actually it's okay to still not know stuff on the way there, and we're still learning. So like it's absolutely okay that the next 4 years are going to be still learning.
Thanks so much, Jack. Final question: what was the best joke that you saw in any of the CGP books, if you can remember?
Did you write any of them?
I hadn't realised when I applied for the job is that it's the editors that write the jokes. I thought they had a team of people who write the jokes, and I wasn't very good at writing the jokes. I sat there for so long. I'm trying to think. I had one of my colleagues. It's not a joke, but it's like there was one. I think you sort of have to write like a top tip on a card, and like most. Like they did sausage revision cards and you write a top tip. And most of them were serious, like, oh, this is how you can learn this thing. And then occasionally you'd have a jokey one. One of my colleagues made up a recipe for a cauliflower balti. Sprotel. And it's just like he's got his famous cauliflower balti. I was like, I really want to know if anyone made that.
Okay,
That's
okay.
amazing.
Because
Yeah.
he didn't, it wasn't, I think he just sort of made it up.
Right.
That's probably terrible. And
You know what? Fair play.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and
It's
chatting.
been really
This
lovely
has
to chat
been
through.
Yeah.
Not quite as nerve-wracking as I thought, but
It's been a chat.
Very
It's like,
good.
oh,
I don't think I'll watch it back.
That's fair. Right, we're going to jump to a quick break before we bring in our second guest, so don't go anywhere, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Hey up, I'm Beth.
And I'm Kat. What?
I thought you were going to say from Wales.
From Wales.
There we go, we got him.
Yeah.
But actually from Wales, we have Matt.
Hi.
Hello. You can look at us, you can look at the camera, you can
Oh,
leave.
do
I don't know.
anything.
Really?
Talk to Seb if you want to. If that makes you feel more comfortable.
He's still here behind camera, making sure everything is running smoothly. So if the audio is awful, blame him. No, but thank you so much for joining us
Yeah, so
today.
thank you for inviting me.
You are more than welcome. So I guess we'll kind of start off with sort of who are you? What do you do? Why are you here?
Whoa. That's just the basics.
To get in, yeah.
So I'm Matt. I'm a first year SAMBa online student here at Bath. I've been in Bath for a very, very, very long time now. And I'm kind of working on numerical analytics. Numerics?
You sound
Yeah.
not sure.
It's very new.
Right, you're allowed to be not sure because you're only like what
Yeah.
2 months into PhD at this
Yeah,
point.
2
So
months in.
yeah.
So it's all very fresh and
Okay.
exciting and
Mhm.
new and
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. So our viewers should be familiar with SAMBa by now. But,
Yeah.
So you said that you're a SAMBa aligned student.
yeah.
Can you explain a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, so a SAMBa online student, instead of doing it's not you don't have an integrated master's
Mhm.
effectively. So you just start straight in with a PhD. Although in my case we have like a warm-up year, kind of trying to figure out what's going on in the area and then going into actual stuff.
Okay.
And as a SAMBa online student, you can do most of the same stuff.
Mhm.
So you can do the student-led symposia, you can do I've forgotten all the stuff now. This is right. All goes,
Yeah, you not only have to remember all the acronyms, but you have to tell us what the acronyms mean as well. So like bold,
Yeah. Mhm.
bold choice. You started listing, you got to give me at least 2 more,
PSS,
which means
postgraduate seminar series. You can do all the fun stuff with that. You can also do additional courses if you feel you need to
Okay.
do them.
Mhm.
But yeah,
nice.
it's quite good. It's
Mhm.
quite good.
Yeah. So you say you have like a year to muck around and find out. Is that sort of specific to your project, or is that?
Yeah, maybe my supervisor wouldn't agree with me saying that. No, it's kind of a warm-up year for us because it's not a new area to me, but it's still
Mhm.
very fresh. I don't really understand very much about it, so we're kind of going to use the first year as a get ready for the rest of
Okay.
it.
Mm.
So like a normal SAM student would have 3 years to do a PhD.
Mhm.
I think that's kind of what we're going to try to do to
Okay.
get in the 3 years, but just have a year of
It's quite nice.
Yeah.
to
getting
be
up to
fair.
speed
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have 4 years of funding.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because in like a sort of a straight through PhD would be 3.5 typically.
At
Half at
At
least.
math, yeah.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
varying between I think 3 years is sort of minimum, and then some people go 4.
Mhm.
If you go to the US, you have like people who are doing the 7 years of. I think 7 is like the upper limit
Right.
as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very like a lot of courses and a lot of like figuring out where to go first. So yeah, it's nice that you have that. I guess you kind of like, oh, what's the technical term? Like scoping the literature.
Playing in the field.
Not playing the field. But that along those lines, there's something that people use when they're like, we're gonna basically comprehensive lit review of the
Okay.
of
Let's do a lit review.
there's a nice term that I've used in a confirmation at some point that I have no idea. No idea. But yeah, so you're kind of scoping out sort of the broad area. So can you tell us potentially like your project, is there like what is it in very, very abstract terms or like very broad terms? Does it have like
I have a title.
Okay.
Technically,
Okay.
finite element methods
Mhm.
on polygonal and polyhedral meshes to
Mhm.
solve the Boltzmann transport equation.
Okay.
Now, I know that's a lot of words, and I don't understand half of them myself.
Okay.
But it's numerical methods for solving specific PDE with applications in nuclear energy.
Okay.
So it's in collaboration with the CEA, which is the Atomic Energy Institute in France. And the research is to work towards developing the next level of nuclear reactors.
Amazing. And if you want to know more about the CEA, we have a video on our blog. They were the partners of the ITT, so we're just shamelessly promoting everything. I think my job here is just to promote our stuff, but like,
I mean, that's where my project came from. That ITT.
that makes a lot of sense.
That's where it all links
Is it
together.
math? Are you on math rad? Is that
Yeah.
part of that? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
From
cool.
the
Yeah. So I guess like that's quite, you've got a lot looking forward. How did you kind of end up choosing that, or kind of how did you fall into this?
Oh, that is a hard question to answer. Um, More specifically, this PhD or
Yeah, maybe to start with.
yeah.
I'm working backwards.
Working-
Yeah, we're gonna go backwards. We're gonna
we're gonna start
end
now
with like
and
some
go
primary
back.
school, right?
Oh, I remember. This one specifically, I think it was just the interest in it also. So my master's, when I did that here, I did it with an industry collaborator. I think I was quite keen on that because I liked that environment. It was quite interesting. And it felt like, yeah, what I was doing was, interesting in that sense. So I was quite keen on having an industrial collaborator for my PhD. If that was an option, I didn't actually know about that before so much, but then started researching into it, and then great, there's this one at Bath that's got. Let's have a go at that one. And voila, I got lucky.
I think that's fair. So I guess like you knew sort of industry. Did you know the sort of like types of maths that you were going for earlier, or was that sort of again you like the sort of words are not happening today? The project sounded interesting, so you kind of fell into the area.
Project sounds interesting, yeah. So I've always been interested in like numerical or numerics. I can't know, it's analysis apparently. But yeah, NA.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always enjoyed that. So I thought, oh, let's have a look, see what's around. And that was one of the ones that were there. So
Okay, cool. Yeah. One of the questions in chat is just, is Matt a physicist? Which like
no. No, I enjoy physics, but no, I did a physics A level. That's the last thing I've done physics wise.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. So you said you were you've been here, your first year PhD, but you've been here for ages. Is that just the PhD and masters, or have you been
That's before then.
Cancerous, never leaving?
No.
So you came to Bath for your undergrad?
Yeah. So undergrads and masters are now staying here again. So I really, I like it here. It's nice and quiet for the most part. It's peaceful.
Except for when the Christmas markets are on.
Oh,
Yeah.
this time of year. This time of year. Everything else is okay.
Based on who likes the Christmas market.
Yeah, I still like the Christmas markets.
Yeah, we're not like
Yeah, too long.
Well, you've got another 3 years for it to disappoint you.
It's okay. No, I like it. I like it.
Yeah. So you did maths undergrad?
Yeah, maths undergrads with a study abroad.
Okay.
So I did a 4-year undergrad in the end.
Very nice.
Where was the year abroad?
In Munich.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
So I thought,
And was that doing like part of your course just in Munich, or was that like doing something adjacent to the maths course?
yeah, so it was continuing my course basically. So doing a year of mathematics in Germany. Although it didn't really count very much.
Right, okay.
8%. So
It's quite common though. It's
yeah.
just the experience.
Yeah, it's more the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
did you do anything non-maths while you were out there, or was it?
It was COVID at the time.
Oh,
okay.
So
did you go out?
Not as much as I would have liked towards the start, particularly. Because the Germans are quite strict in general, and particularly around COVID, they were.
Yeah, I remember the looking at how different countries handled the pandemic, and we don't think too fully down that route, but Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a shame, but still, like, you had some experience of.
Yeah, no, I had a fantastic time. So I got quite lucky. So I found an apartment with other people, so I wasn't alone the whole time,
Yeah.
which is so much better
Mhm,
from the
mhm.
get-go. So the rest of it was kind of like, good fun.
Yeah. How's your German? It seems to be a common question
We could
today.
have had like
Yeah,
Matt and
it's-
Caroline having like a German off.
That's very true.
I'm not quite sure about that. I think she would have been much better. No, I would say it's probably quite rusty,
Okay.
but it used to be okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did you have to have some qualification in German to go there, or was that not a requirement?
Technically, it was.
Okay. It won't make you say anything that will get you in trouble on the internet. Don't worry.
Right now, it already happened. It's fine.
Yeah. No, technically, I think it was supposed to be a requirement, but I got an AS level.
Yeah.
That was fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That is a qualification.
Mhm.
It's fine.
I
Mhm.
think they wanted the full A level, but I think
Mm.
Yeah.
it's already happened now. I can't get told
Yeah.
off anymore.
Yeah. I'd say you don't even go there anymore, but you do. So
Yeah, good point.
yeah. So yeah, you can run away from your undergrad, but
Yeah.
still here.
That was okay. But yeah, it was really good fun. Really good fun. It was nice learning about how you kind of learn in other countries in a sense because it's very strange. So like things that we do quite late, so like measure theory, stuff like that, they do really early, like
Okay.
almost straight
Okay.
away. So it's like a second year thing for them,
Oh god.
and
I
it's
never
like
did measure
Me
theory.
either.
No.
By choice.
I think it was either it was an optional fourth year module
Mhm.
at Birmingham, I think. So
Yeah.
and even then you had to have had certain like analysis prerequisites and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess something we were talking about actually with the previous guest was that sort of like applied maths being kind of seen differently. Like, would you say that it was much more of a pure focus?
yeah, much more, much
Yeah.
more of a pure
Mhm.
focus. It was very strange because like here it's quite we've got like a more of an applied focus, like I said.
Mm.
They got more of a pure, but they kind of split it. It's very regimented. So kind of we bit more, bit of both, maybe, bit more applied here
Mhm.
or here. They have pure applied.
Okay,
Yeah.
like so separate degrees.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's completely different. You can do modules from both, but they're very
So it's like you would not come out with a degree in mathematics, it would be one or the other.
applied.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't have like me. My final year was 50% number theory and 50% fluid dynamics. So that's yeah. It was just weird. It was because I didn't want to do measure theory, but yeah, it's
Good choice.
yeah, good balance of things. You know?
Number theory is fun.
Number theory was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sure, I've never done number theory.
there's not that much here. I recommend it. It's all of the like maths puzzles end up being just number theory, like combinatoric stuff.
Mhm.
It's great. We segued very hard. That sorry.
Yeah.
Questions, words. How are things? How are you?
It's actually nice and warm in here, so it makes a change.
Yeah.
Everyone just freezes.
Yeah, the bane of streaming over the summer, where this room is absolutely
Yes.
sweltering. Actually,
Yeah.
now this is probably the nicest room on campus. But yeah, it's all good.
Mhm.
So I guess like alongside the PhD, no, the undergrad,
Mm.
were you doing anything else? Any sort of hobbies or side
Yeah,
interests?
so I've always kind of been interested in motorsport.
Okay.
All my whole life. It's like a family thing. We've all loved it.
Okay.
So kind of when I was just finishing my A-levels, I thought, well, let's try it out in the background. You can kind of get because it's a very weekend-based thing. So you can let's just try it on the weekends.
So for someone that doesn't know, I'm immediately picturing F1 when you say motorsports.
It's not. It's not.
What is it?
So something that's a bit lower down.
Mhm.
So you've got F1, F2, F3, F4, and then kind of somewhere around that bottom layer is what I'm kind of doing Formula Ford,
Okay.
which is the cars don't look anything like F1 cars.
That was going to be my
No.
question. Are they the like very low, or are they more like a car? Like
So no, they're very low,
Okay.
very low. One person in the car kind of thing.
Mhm.
But no big wings, no fancy
Okay.
things like that. And normal road tires effectively.
Okay.
So it's much. The
But
idea
still
is
on
to
a
be very
track.
competitive. Still on the track.
Mhm.
The idea is to just be competitive without spending loads and loads of money.
Very
Um,
cool. So you started that in end of A levels.
yeah, so 2018 probably. I've done it ever since.
Oh,
So
yeah. Is it something that you've been able to keep up? Do you go home to your family and do it with them still, or is it something that you do in Bath?
both.
Yeah.
So do it with the family a lot.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, yeah, like I said, we
Yeah.
like it, so we all do bits and pieces. And then I do it outside of family as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun.
Very
We
cool.
were quite lucky here because obviously we're quite close to Castle Coombe,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of
so
course,
it's a
yeah.
20-minute drive
Yeah.
away.
There's a raceway at Castle Coombe. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's a really pretty village, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
stunning.
Yeah, for racing around there.
Not in the village.
Okay.
Not down the streets.
One time I've been there and there's far too many people like setting up tripods in the middle of the road to take like a nice selfie or something.
It's very cute. Like even just driving there slowly.
No,
like,
I
they're
think
very
there's like
windy.
there's the village and then there's like the raceway is like a little bit outside. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So lots of the work I do is more data side. As a
Oh, okay.
statistician, I like to look at the data.
Mhm.
So analyze how the car's performing and try
Okay.
to make improvements based on that. Whether that be changing the car or telling the driver to drive
Mhm.
better or could be badly.
Yeah. I feel like if anything, that's going to have a negative effect on the performance of the car.
Yeah, from my experience, I found screaming drive better at other people driving cars doesn't really.
Or
Yeah.
It's really good fun.
Mhm.
It's really
okay.
Do you drive the cars as well then, or
good. No.
no? Okay.
No, I think I'm too scared.
Okay. So what kind of speeds are we talking? Like they're not obviously not at F1 level, but they're still faster than average. Like,
Still
yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
It's about 130
Okay.
top.
Okay.
So
Yeah. What do you
that's
do?
the
What do you
line
do on
I've
the
got.
motorway?
We're on camera.
I
I'm
know.
trying
So maybe not fast for some of us, but
Yeah. In Autobahn in Germany, that's like.
It's about 120, isn't it?
Well, I thought they didn't have a speed limit.
limited for some.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you ever go driving in Germany, that's gonna be the
Yes.
place to try it out.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
yeah,
It's too scary. Too scary.
yeah, that's fun. But yeah, so you do all of the sort of data behind that.
Yeah,
That's very
look
cool.
behind the scenes, that kind of thing. Yeah, but that's
Mm.
how I kind of got to that. I
Okay.
started doing that in the background.
Do you think this feels like a bit of a chicken and egg question already, but like given that you started that post A levels, do you think that's kind of doing the data and looking at that side of things from that has kind of shaped your interest in maths, or has it been like you were always interested in that and then that's why you kind of lent more towards that in the motor racing?
That is a bit of a chicken.
Yeah.
I think it's probably that's a hard question actually. I think it's helped my interest in maths probably.
Mm.
So lots of it's applying statistical methods, things
Mhm.
like that, and that's kind of fueled enthusiasm in that kind of area.
Mm.
And now we're going to try use some numerics basically to try and do things a
Oh,
bit differently.
Cool.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's really nice though that to see such I guess, a different inspiration for like what you enjoy in maths or like actually being able to use your maths somewhere else. Because I guess for most people it is like, yeah, you maybe enjoyed it at A level and university, but actually no,
Yeah.
you're actively doing things that you enjoy and that
In a very abstract way, I think
Yes.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean, with that in mind, did you ever consider kind of going down that route professionally, like for a job, or?
It did come to my mind, but it's hard from what I can tell. Plus,
Yeah.
like as I kept going through my bachelor's and then onto my master's, like my interest in maths kind of grew. Particularly like I say numerics. So I was like, oh, I kind of want to keep doing this. And I want to keep going and going and see what happens. And yeah, here I am effectively. So
That's fair enough.
Because was that an integrated masters or a separate
a
masters?
separate one.
Okay.
So the masters was in maths and data science for
Right,
industry.
okay.
So that's kind of what fueled that
Yes,
data
yeah.
before. And like I said, it's from the work, and I wanted to do something in industry. So I thought I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
And see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, industry and motorsports are hand in hand, so there's always opportunity down the line for those sorts of projects, especially going in as like I can bring you the maths and sell it that way. But the fact that you still do essentially maths as your hobby, just like wrapped in cars, is quite it's like spot the mathematician. It's like, yeah, I definitely do different things on the weekend that it's not just more maths.
Maths wrapped in cars.
It's like you package it up in a like, oh, I do cars, and we're like, oh, cool, he goes racing, and then he's like, no, I just look at data. It's fantastic. I love that for you, but I am also highly amused that that is basically.
There's no rest.
So what was your I mean, me and Kat should be able to answer this because
Oh,
you
God.
gave an excellent PSS talk yesterday on your master's
You're too
project.
kind about that.
But so what was your master's project on then? If you say that it was kind of like your interest in numerics and data was sort of growing as a result of the motorsport, what was your master's project?
So my master's project was about space weather, so
Okay.
seemingly wildly different. But it was in collaboration with the Met Office,
Mhm.
that one. And we worked on space weather, trying to predict how the impact effectively of certain space weather events. Now space weather's stuff that happens in the atmosphere effectively for
Mhm.
all intents and purposes. So that's what we're trying to look at. So that was quite a data heavy one, data science project effectively, which is applying machine learning into this area and trying to see what come out of it. Yeah, it was really good. It's a really good project. I really enjoyed that actually.
Yeah, I mean, how much of the sort of like astrophysics side of things did you have to kind of understand to be able to manipulate the data? Was it sort of like for your own benefit using it, or was it actually like useful to feed into models?
I think at the time, at the start, I had to know quite a bit because it was quite lots of it's context based, so it's really important to understand the context behind it. But like now, I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Does it
No.
snow in space? That's what
Right now, it's like
Certainly cold enough. I think.
Yeah.
But no, no, unfortunately it doesn't.
Okay.
It would be pretty cool actually.
you're just like, yeah, it's snowing on the sun. I think we have bigger problem.
Yeah, but that's a very concentrated heat source within space.
That's true.
The rest of space is then not hotter than.
Yeah, this is where Thomas is going to come back into chat and just shout at us. We have an astrophysicist watching sometimes.
Oh no. Should not have brought this up.
Oh no, this is
Yeah, it was a trap.
But like, because you have like meteors and stuff that are made up of ice, right? So if you have one of them that breaks, in theory, that's kind of like snow. It's more like hail.
Yeah. Very, very big hail.
Big hail, yeah. Asteroid belt's just big hail.
Oh, Thomas, I wasn't listening what heresy was chatted.
Does it snow in space?
Space snow.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's
Who wouldn't want space snow, though?
I don't want this snow. It's too cold.
But wouldn't you feel that the cold was more justified if it was at least snowing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be better.
Yeah.
Oh, it does snow in space. Does it snow in space?
Day is made.
Maybe I need to rewrite some of my projects a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine. He does big galaxy stuff.
Mhm.
I think. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like we can't ask that without segueing through it, and I'm going to try and find justified. So prior to joining Bath, you were obviously somewhere before Bath.
Yes.
Where was that?
In Newport.
In
Wales,
Newport.
effectively.
Got another South Walian. Caroline went to Birmingham with
Yes.
Beth. I found a Welshman. Good. How was that?
That Joe, it was fun. It was really good. So I got a quite lucky school, a nice comp school. A levels were fun. Maths for the maths, physics. Well, it's actually it's just maths basically.
Maths, and more
Applied
maths.
maths.
And a little bit of German.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But at AS level, you've said.
Yeah, just stuff because we weren't actually allowed to do anything more than that. We only allowed to do 3 A levels.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you could only do you could have a taste of something else in AS level, and then like.
Say something
like that.
Yeah.
But that was okay. So I got here this time.
Worked out in the end.
Worked out.
Yeah, that's fair. So go in. Wait, no, I have 2 questions here that I want to get through. I'm trying to think what's the right order to do them in. So you stayed at your comp for sixth form.
Yes,
as well,
they
so
do,
all in
yeah.
one place. That'd be nice. Going prior to A level then, how much Welsh did you have to do?
Just a GCSE,
Okay, but full GCSE.
full GCSE.
Is that the same as you?
No, so
No.
I was the first year that had to do short course. So I was the first year that anything was mandatory.
Okay.
But I was short course, so I was
Mhm.
wondering, yeah,
So it was like
how
a
old am I?
yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
No, I still had to do the full one.
Okay.
Maybe that was just a my school thing, but
I think it did change. I mean, they're slowly trying to get it so that it's more and more fluent from the younger age. But yeah, how was your Welsh?
it's not very good here.
Uh,
Shamefully, it's not very good.
how's your pronunciation?
Oh, that's okay.
That's all right.
That's
Can
okay.
you
That's
say
like around.
train up in North Wales? Long
Train
place name.
station.
Yeah. Do you need to read it? Can you do it from memory?
Llan fawr Gwyngeith Gogor Gwynjugur Shantasio Gogor? Something like that.
More
maybe?
confident, but yeah, that was it. Oh, there we go. You can have that Welshman saying it. Yeah, this is a common thing. Put a Welshman on the internet, make them say the thing. It's a funny trick you pull out at every sort of like. It's a good one.
I think for me, like I think I know. I always knew that was like the longest place name in the UK, right? Yes, yeah. And I just remember that it ends in like go go go. Like that's just the thing. Is like, but I imagine that you could really like amaze an American with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I have.
yeah.
It's great fun. Yeah. If you want to go full thing, so my family's all not fluent first language at all. But if me and mum want to pretend that we're speaking another language somewhere, we will just say like Calorman to each other, but like as if we're having a conversation. And then when we run out of that, we will start like breaking it down and just being like, no,
Yeah.
and like you can just make shit up. It's completely bonkers, but it's good fun. You're like, yeah, I can speak another language. It's fun.
I mean, I know the words to Cal on that, so maybe I could pull that trick as well.
Yeah. It's good fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. I feel like because I said it and because Matt said it,
Oh.
I feel like maybe chat should decide. Do you think Beth should
No,
say?
because chat are going to make me say it. Yeah, that's just you getting your own way. That's not chat should decide.
That's 2 yeses at least. You got seriously. You can give it a go.
I've just heard. Can you haven't actually?
Sounds so much more
I do that. This is my party trick on the internet. They make me do this all the time.
Oh no, this is not fair. Planfair.
Mm-hmm.
Poor.
Yeah.
Poor. I can't. I don't know which. Can somebody
Wait.
put it with like hyphens in where the
Plan.
different like?
That says Alan.
Ow.
Plan.
Nope.
By.
My keyboard is not going to enjoy the Welsh. It's not going to.
Gwyn. Gill. Nath apell gwyn go. Garach. Gwyn. Robw. Llantysilio. Go. There you go.
Oh. I should have remembered how you just said that as you've been typing.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah. I don't like this game.
You can fully. If you do it, I will try from memory to do the longest place name in the world, which is a mountain in New Zealand.
But then none of us know if you're right or wrong. I literally just make shit up and we wouldn't know.
Fine. Maybe we'll leave it, and then if at the end you feel like you want to do it, the camera.
I can Llanfair.
Yeah.
Pwyl.
Mm.
Gwyn. Sorry.
Gill.
Gill.
Yep. You're already doing better than most people I've made do this on the internet. Don't worry.
Go gar.
Yeah.
Quinn. Drobboch.
Yeah.
Llantysilio.
Yeah.
Go. Okay, there we go. I don't think I can put it all together.
That's fine.
But yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Seb, you're in the room.
Can I be heard? Maybe. Yeah.
Damn.
What? Llanfair fin gwyn gil goger.
Mm.
Fin drop flanslu go.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I feel like we do have a little advantage though, because like you say, we've learned some Welsh in choir.
Mhm.
So we sang Calon Lan. So we kind of learned like that's where like I know little things like the sound and the double L. And,
Mhm.
yeah, but so maybe we have an advantage.
Yeah. If you want to
Should
feel,
have been there for that.
I know. If you joined last year, we did it. It's like I think I put the request in when we have a maths choir in the department. It's wonderful. Yeah, we were like, oh, everyone pick a song, and I was like, Calon Lan. I miss home. I want Calon Lan.
And then occasionally we'd sing it really well when you were homesick and make you cry.
Honestly, there's nothing better than just
Mm.
Welsh song choir. It's fab. So obviously you're in the choir with us now. Yeah.
Not very good. Well, I'm not very good.
Yeah. You're like,
Everyone else is great.
Yeah, I think that's not allowed as a Welshman though. Like, I don't know. For me, it felt like it was very much part of the sort of culture growing up. Do you feel like? Do they sing in
Oh.
Newport?
Not so much. Not so much.
Oh.
It's probably well, Newport's probably not as Welsh as other places, I would say.
Everyone has that sort of. It's just a difference of culture. We're not gonna. I will not shit on Newport loudly on the internet. Just every once in a while. It's fine. we won't chat now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just like do the thing. Oh dear. Yeah. I segued
I was
everything
going
off.
to
I'm
say,
so sorry.
we knew that you were going to want to talk about Wales at some point,
Makes me happy.
which is fine. But now
Yeah.
we have to like bring it back round.
Yes.
So yeah.
I mean, coming from Newport to Bath was a bit of a shift. How did you find moving across the border?
It was a bit strange to start. It was a bit strange to start with. I think people are a bit quieter on the whole. It's probably a nice way of describing it, but actually a bit quieter on the whole. So it's a bit more peaceful. So I kind of like that.
Mhm.
Especially when you're trying to work and stuff. It's a bit more relaxing. But otherwise, not much. It's only an hour drive, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Not
quite
very
nice.
far.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's quite good.
Mhm.
So if I'm feeling particularly lazy, take the laundry home.
I must admit, I used to do that at undergrad, and then that was because again I was only like an hour away from home, so I was like, yeah, I can get away with it. And then now I'm like, maybe not quite. Like,
Yeah.
we should adult like at least a little bit more now.
Yeah. Unless it's Christmas and you've got to get back in time and you haven't done your washing for that week.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like,
that's fair.
that's fair game.
If you're
That's
going
'cause you
home,
have to be back for
Yes.
yes,
So-
yeah, and you're probably there for like a week or two. There's enough time to like do the turnaround and
Yeah. Plus, okay, maybe I'm acting myself here. It saves having to pack if you just take the dirty laundry with you and then you clean it all there and then it's fine.
Yeah.
It's all good. Oh God.
Oh no. Is that the clip of the?
We'll look at it later.
Okay.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
That's great. It's fine.
No. But yeah, I mean, like, so by the end of the PhD, you will have been here 8 years, 9 years.
9 years.
That's a while.
Sixth year
isn't
now.
it?
So
Back, yeah, it would be.
it's quite a long time.
But you, like you say,
Opposite.
you like it here, so obviously decided to stay for PhD. Was that again partly to do with the city, the sort of the culture of the department? Like you because you're not working with the same supervisor that you were working with for your masters, right?
No.
No.
No, it's a bit of everything, I think, actually.
Mhm.
So when I started looking for a PhD, kind of looked everywhere and seeing what was available. There are a couple of good things in Bristol and Cardiff, but I kind of want to stay relatively in this area, I guess.
Yeah.
Not go too far away because then it's easy to go home and things like that. So I had a look around, and then out of all the options, Bath, for me, had the best options. And yeah, that's effectively it. And like I say, I got lucky and got one. And here I am still.
So what you like you said a little bit earlier about like you gave us the title of your PhD project but you're taking it a little bit easier this year. So in like kind of the lead up to what you will eventually be working on, what have you been looking at for the last couple of months?
Doing.
Yeah.
Not that we're just going to send this clip to
Wait, how are
Tristan.
you finding it? Yeah.
So for the first clip that we're going to do, this is the one that will be sent to the supervisor. I've been doing lots of work over the last couple of months. I've been really busy coding, reading, all the books, everything in there. for the second trip.
What's the real answer?
the
Go
real-
on.
no, I have been quite busy with it. A lot of not working code is my feature over the last couple of weeks.
It's your future for the next 3 years,
Yeah.
my friend.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Which has been a bit miserable. That's just how coding works,
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Mhm.
and most of it is my fault. So
It happens.
The amount of days when I'll be stuck for best part of the day, just going like, I can't see what's going wrong. I come back to it the next day, and I'm like, within 10 minutes, I found like a stupid mistake, and I'm like, yeah, if I just hadn't been like a little bit smarter, I could have saved myself a lot of time. But
half of my issue is thinking about, oh, I'll do it like that. That sounds like it'll make things easier later down the line, and then it just doesn't. It just doesn't. It's just trying to be a bit too.
Yeah, I think
I
there's
don't know.
someone has said something intelligent at some point about it, but it's the amount of time that you spend optimizing does actually need to save you time in the end.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you just spend like 8 hours making something that you're only going to run once, work really fast, you're just spending 8 hours writing the code. Perhaps motivationally though. So my work, a lot of coding, a lot of issues, and I've had that over the last like 3-4 years. And it's that thing of I've spent 3 years building a model, and I've spent the last week rewriting the entire thing and like redoing it. And I thought it was going to be like, oh, if it took me 3 years to do a 2D case, it's going to take me 3 years to do a 3D case. And it's like, no, I've built up all of the skill. Now I can just, do that quite quickly. But you have to go through the trial and error of
All the
being a
hoops
useless
first.
first year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say how like your average day, you can average these however you see fit, would be split between sort of like reading, doing like say Blackboard maths and then coding?
Oh, it's very dependent on the day.
Yeah.
I do tutoring as well, so I do quite a bit of
Okay.
tutoring. So generally I have an hour of tutoring, maybe an hour of marking or prep or something like that. So that's 2 hours wiped off already.
Excellent.
And I normally try to do the marking and all the admin stuff in the morning, because then it's somewhat of a wake up, and I can start off slowly and not have to worry too much. And then I'll try read a paper from the field every day. So I subscribe to the archive
Yes.
daily email blast. It's great. It's great. So I pick one that looks relatively approachable and just read that. And then that normally takes too long. It does tend to do. But it gives me time to have coffee and actually like wake up properly. And then I'll start reading, trying to digest some paper that's actually really relevant a lot of the time. So currently I'm looking at like transport sweeps. So the
You have to
meshes.
translate to
Oh.
everyone else, I'm afraid.
So it's a way of solving transport problems with a mesh. So transport things are moving from one side of a mesh to another, say, and you've got all your little cells on your mesh. So what order do you do them in? Effectively.
Okay.
So you can do it as one big solve all in one go, but that's really inefficient. So the idea is to do them one at a time, but very quickly. You've got to pick a correct order to do that.
Okay.
So that's well, hopefully I've explained that okay. But yeah, but that's the idea. So that's what I'm trying to get working at the moment. I think. Surprisingly difficult putting that into code. But luckily someone else in the department did some work on it or at the ITT and did a reading course later then. So I kind of work on stuff that they've done. So
Nice,
at least I've got it. There's a bit of a foundation.
Yeah.
And their coding is like fantastic.
I immediately know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, like I was aware of who was on that
Oh.
project at the ITT,
Oh, yeah,
and now
okay.
I'm like, yeah, I know exactly who
Yeah.
it is.
So
We don't tell them that their coding is
No,
fantastic.
they're not
to
allowed
their
to.
face.
No, cut that out.
No.
Cut that out.
They don't need that ego boost.
They know. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, that is really nice. When you come to a project and the field is already quite good, it's nice to kind of start making waves.
It's great for that kind of thing. And lots of it is over like, things called Voronoi meshes, Voronoi diagrams.
Yeah.
So it's all very pretty.
That's again just a buzzword that I've heard, and I'm like, yes. Yeah. Is that? It's like you have the midpoint of each cell is kind of like it's also a variable or something. Or
Nearest.
I don't know. I just remember seeing like a mesh with a lot of triangles, and all the midpoints are like got dots in them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So it's like what do I do? So you've got like a bunch of little, they're called seeds.
Mhm.
So it's effectively just points on a plane,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
and then you expand out from those points. So each cell is the set of points on the plane that's closest to a certain seed.
Okay.
So it
Yes.
makes these really pretty
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the
plots.
seeds are kind of like randomly sprouted
Yes.
because
They're maybe like
it would just be
Squares.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they are your data points effectively. Yeah. Okay.
So this is kind of it's how like K-nearest neighbours algorithms work as well.
Yes.
So it's all very similar and related.
Okay, so that kind of links back to your master's stuff.
Yeah.
See, I did pay attention.
Yeah, so it's all kind of
Mm.
related in that sense. But it's really interesting because they have a couple of nice properties, particularly with transport and mesh looping, which make them really nice, and it makes it somewhat easy to do.
Okay.
Well, I say somewhat.
That's
I didn't do
cool.
the math behind that, so but it's made my life a bit easier now.
Nice.
Mm.
Yeah. So it sounds like sort of the problem is going to be a lot of like developing models for that sort of stuff and like testing out different
Yeah,
approaches.
some of it is a bit of like that, yeah. So currently we're trying to apply finite volumes on this.
You're filling out all the buzzwords, and I'm gonna make you
Oh.
describe all of them
Okay,
because, like, our audience are not necessarily mathematicians.
No, so it's
It's good practice for you.
Yeah, it's a good practice. It's finite volumes. How am I going to describe this without sounding like a clown? So it's modeling kind of a surface in a sense, effectively with like volumes underneath. That's the simplest way I can use to describe it. But it's a more generalized version of finite differences, where you kind of consider a bunch of cells and consider what goes from one cell into the next, effectively. And then you add up all the cells basically. But it's really good for things like conservation equations, stuff like that. And very good for fluid dynamics y stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
I stay away from it. That stuff's scary, but like I'm aware it is good for that.
it's very good for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but it's an absolute nightmare to code.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe I'm just not very good at coding. I think that's probably what it is. But
No, max volume is non-trivial. I think when it comes to finite elements is the extent that I get to, which is sort of the mid-range. If you think of like a 1D line as the grid, and then you have areas and volumes.
Yeah, I'm still on finite difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, we've gone from like basic end of the scale through to like yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think we swapped seats?
For that very reason. It was all
Yeah.
planned.
Yeah. Just increasing numerics. It's like softly getting that. It's fine. Yeah. It sounds like you've got a very clear sort of idea at the minute what you're sort of working on, even if it is kind of bashing your head against code.
I think so for the most part. And then we just from here we're kind of just going to apply it in neutronics, which is just transport of neutrons through
Okay.
certain materials.
Okay.
basically. Yeah, it's about as fun as it gets at the moment. But it is interesting. It is really
Yeah,
interesting.
I think
I
that-
really enjoy it.
That's the key thing. Like when you're picking a PhD project, there's sort of a toss up between like you're gonna hate the project at some point, and I think that's only natural when it gets hard. So if you enjoy working with your supervisor, then that's gonna be the thing that might keep you going. There's gonna be times when you also probably don't like your supervisor very much, and then if you enjoy the project, then that keeps you going. So yeah, it's good that you've got a balance.
I don't hate them. They just abandon me.
Yeah, so that's what I did. Hate is far too strong a
Hate is
word.
too strong.
It's like in the same way that you would have disagreements with anybody you work with. It's just
Yeah.
No.
Like you say, we got a very close department on the whole, so there is support.
Yeah.
So it's a really good sign.
Yeah, I suppose that's a nice thing of kind of being adjacent to the SAMBa structure is you can dip in and out of that structure as much as you want. Yeah, are you finding that you are enjoying engaging with that side of things? Like,
Yeah, I'm enjoying that side because I'm quite social.
don't know what you mean.
So I'm enjoying that a lot because it's a lot of socializing activities, but a lot of doing stuff with other people in a more serious environment. So like the PSS yesterday was a bit more And there's not really a serious event, but you know what I mean. It's a
It's
bit more work
heading that way.
related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, like giving a talk, a few months into a PhD is quite impressive. Like we were talking about your masters, but still, like you stood up in front of a crowd of peers and spoke. Like, how was that? Do you find that it was fine, I don't care, or was it like a
It's one of those things, I think. When you start, for the first 5 minutes, it's a bit like, oh, this is all very new. I don't like it. And then when you kind of just get into the flow then, because things like I think I'm somewhat used to the project. I know it quite well. So it's yeah, you get into the flow of talking about it. Luckily, I managed to practice twice the day before.
that does help?
Yeah, doing it once to yourself in front of like an empty theatre. It's a very strange thing, but yeah, that's fun. And then yeah, that was good.
Yeah. We'd like to think we're not scary, really.
No, that's the whole point of PSS, is that it's meant to be a friendly place with no academics and just
No, it was really good. It was really good.
It's a good talk, yeah. And like the fact that the last couple of weeks, we like yourself and Elliot, another new starter, have given talks, and I'm like, I would have never done this like 2 months into starting here. Like I barely spoke to anyone, I think.
Yeah.
It's just
You did you did a 3-minute thesis quite early on. I think it was in your first year.
It was in my first year. It was certainly before the summer. So I don't know whether you did the 3-minute thesis in like May time or March maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I did that then, but that was I cried beforehand.
and you did great.
But that was on something that I'd done on my masters as well. So
Yeah. But no, it's nice, and you get to sit there smug and be like, well, I've already given the talk, so everything else now is just easy.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And also, like, nobody's allowed to pester me because I've already done one this year. So you're like off the hit list for giving a talk.
Yeah, Henry did try to pester me quite a lot because he was like, I need to fill the gap. I need to fill the time slots. I was like, I'm not doing it next week.
Yeah.
Because next week's a bit more nervy.
Yeah.
I'll do it now.
Okay.
That's
Leave me alone.
Yeah, this is the trick with a PhD scheme: is say yes to one thing, but be very adamant that you're only doing one thing. As soon as we know you'll say yes to obligations, it keeps coming. But I mean, hopefully, the more that you do speaking opportunities, the more comfortable it becomes, and then it just becomes kind of second nature. Because by the end of it, like the whole point of doing this sort of research is kind of sharing it. It's all well and good being the smartest person in the room, but if you can't tell anyone about your stuff, you may as well not be.
Yeah.
So it's lovely to hear. Oh dear. There was another thought in my brain and it's gone already.
Okay.
Tag.
Yeah, but I don't know what thought was in your brain.
Why not? Unacceptable. This is why they don't let me on camera anymore.
Last time, didn't we
derails.
we had the wonderful thing about Tiggers? Wasn't that a thing?
Tiggers are wonderful things.
Yeah. There we go. That was
It's
off.
made out of strings. Well, that's in my head now. Thank you for that. Oh dear. Yeah. I mean, after yesterday, you're going to sign up to do loads of more talking stuff. You're going to do conference presentations and all of the all these side
I'll
things.
do what outreachy things.
If only there was an initiative in the department.
If only. No, I like to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Have you done much sort of outreach or speaking stuff in the past? Or
Bits and pieces, but nothing worth bragging about.
Sure, that's not true, but
no, it definitely is. Definitely is.
Yeah, but you say you do teaching. Like, how are you finding that? Is that sort of similar vibe of helping the next generation of future mathematicians, or is that just
kind of
fills the day?
No, kind of. I really enjoy that actually. That's one of the bits I do enjoy most about this. So I've been a tutor for like 2 years now. It's my second year.
Of course, yeah.
Although last year I did mostly like labs, so more computer, Python kind of teaching. But this year I moved on to like whiteboard teaching.
Okay, what module are you doing?
Numerical analysis.
Okay, yeah,
Like
that makes sense.
SAMBa. And I'm really enjoying that. Really enjoying that bit.
Yeah. Is it just the little, and I will say this because I get this, of when I'm feeling really down about my PhD work, being able to go into a room and be like, I know all of this. Look how smart I am. That just like a little bit of an ego boost, just like a teeny one.
So, John, the biggest ego boost is when someone asks a question that's slightly off topic, and you get it right,
Yeah.
or you maybe not get it right, but you give an answer.
Yeah.
That is the biggest.
Yeah. The biggest
That's-
humbling though is when you don't.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, so what does this mean? And I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And it is still first year, but just
I
something
know.
else.
I think I'd sit in that camp more than the camp that gets things right, unfortunately. So yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about when you don't know the things and it's like you
Oh,
get
sorry,
really
that's
good at
outside the
questioning.
scope of this. Sorry.
Yeah. See, he's already got the corporate art
They
down.
don't pay me enough to answer your questions if they're off topic. Like
Yeah, it's actually an exercise left for the reader.
Yes.
Why don't you go find out? My personal favourite was always, oh, I'll look that up and get back to you, and then just pray they forgot.
As well.
You'd always probably get that one kid though that then the next week would not have forgotten and they
Yeah.
would come back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that, and then if they keep doing it, you just like pass it on to the lecturer.
Yeah.
You're like, you should talk about this. It's fine.
Mm.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. So, how are you feeling for the next 3 years? Feeling still optimistic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
Fantastic.
Good.
Well, we'll see. No, no. It'll be good. I mean, obviously, there's going to be ups and downs. But yeah, I'm excited about it.
It's
I'm
good.
looking forward
Yeah.
to seeing what's happening.
Mhm.
And all my peers are great. So
Mm.
Again, no one is being
it's fun.
paid to say anything
I'm not
on this
being paid,
channel.
I promise. But
Yeah.
no, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good.
Okay. And then just to wrap up, what advice would you give to someone thinking about doing a maths PhD right now?
Oh, that is a hard one.
Gotta end on a question. Something like deeply philosophical. Philosophical. Okay.
Yeah.
Think a lot about what you really enjoy in maths and try to make the most of that. Because otherwise you'll be stuck doing something for a long time that you're not 100% keen on, and
Mm.
that's not ideal. Although maybe this is a better question to ask me in like 2 years' time.
In
No.
2 years' time, we can show you this video.
That's
Like,
the
so
idea.
Matt, do you agree with the advice that you gave?
That's my advice.
Yeah, we like get the inspirational quotes from the people before they become jaded, and then you make them interview other people. That's how that works. No, but thank you so much for joining us. It was a lot.
Yes, no, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Good to chat.
the segues weren't too chaotic.
No, it's fine. You did it nice. You did it. Yeah.
We'll get back on topic eventually. It's all
Yeah.
good. Blink twice if you need help from chat. Thank you.
Which one of us?
Yeah. Right. We'll just jump quickly to a BRB screen, and we'll say goodbye to Matt, and then we'll be back to wrap things up. And if you're watching on YouTube, see you next time, because I realised we never put the extra bit in the YouTube video.
No.
So thanks. Bye.